After 4 years as John's kept woman, everyone thought we were going to get married. Then he set his sights on a freshman who had just turned 18. He kissed her right in front of me. His brothers urged him to save face for me. Or I might leave. He snapped. Everything she eats and uses it all paid for with my money. How could she possibly leave me? Without me as her sugar daddy, she wouldn't survive. What he didn't know was that I'd already obtained my Australian permanent residency, that I was never coming back. Today. John carried a faint scent of jasmine, that he never wore women's perfume. It was strange. That night, I couldn't sleep. John, however, slept soundly, his soft breaths filling the silence. Suddenly, his phone screen lit up. I never touched his phone. But this time, some unseen force compelled me to pick it up. Several messages from Sophia flashed on the lock screen. I couldn't see the content. Not knowing his passcode, I quietly pointed the phone at his face to unlock it. My heart pounded violently. My hands trembling. I was terrified he'd wake up and catch me. Quickly, I opened the messaging app and tapped Sophia's chat window. After 4 years as John's kept woman, everyone thought we were going to get married. Then he set his sights on a freshman who had just turned 18. He kissed her right in front of me. His brothers urged him to save face for me. Or I might leave. He snapped. Everything she eats and uses it all paid for with my money. How could she possibly leave me? Without me as her sugar daddy, she wouldn't survive. What he didn't know was that I'd already obtained my Australian permanent residency, that I was never coming back. I scrolled up. Messages flooded their chat daily. I searched their chat history. They'd been connected for a month. The sound of John turning over startled me. I has. Teely closed everything and returned the phone. My mind drifted back to when we first met. 4 years ago. My father's failed investments left him millions in debt. He drugged a drunk John, orchestrated my sleeping with him, and ordered me to take compromising photos. He planned to blackmail John for the money to clear his debts. John despised me. To him, I was a gold digger who'd use any dirty trick for cash. But once John had a taste of intimacy, he became addicted to the intensity between us. He made me an offer. Live with him. $50,000 a month. Nights at his apartment. Days at university as usual. Back then, I was destitute. $50,000 felt like a fortune. Graduating from my mediocre college, I'd be lucky to land a $300 a month job. With John, I only worked nights. Crucially, the job wasn't unpleasant. My sugar daddy was barely 25, eyes like deep ocean, sharp nose, full lips, incredibly kissable, tall and lean. He looked good clothed and even better shirtless, with toned muscles that felt perfect under my hands. He was devoted. 2. I was his only woman. High pay and genuine enjoyment. Who wouldn't want a job like that? Except now, his devotion seemed gone. John claimed he was swamped with work and gave me 2 days off. Yet at the club, I saw him arm in arm with a petite, cute girl. Surrounded by his brothers, the noisy crowd fell silent. His brothers exchanged bewildered glances. Although I was a kept woman, John had taken me to countless events and gatherings. As a result, I met many people around him and seized the chance to add numerous contacts. I fully integrated into his circle, occasionally inviting some wealthy heiresses myself to maintain high society connections. I in their circle. Everyone knew I was John's kept woman. John halted in his tracks, momentarily flustered, and quickly let go of the girl's hand. Just then, a man nearby teased, "What? John is afraid of Emily." John's eyes instantly turned icy and displeased. He glanced at me casually, the corner of his mouth curling upward as a mocking smile spread across his face. "She's just a kept woman. I keep nothing to be afraid of." After saying that, he boldly wrapped his arm around the girl beside him and kissed her cheek. The girl lowered her head shyly. "John, so many people are watching." John pinched the girl's cheek. The two flirted openly as if no one else was there. When my suspicions were confirmed, my heart felt choked, and I couldn't utter a word. I let them walk past me. that sour. Bitter emotion welled up slowly inside. My nose stung. As if tears were about to fall from the corners of my eyes, I immediately bit my lip and forced a faint smile onto my face. After pushing back the tears, I took a deep breath, stepping in my high heels. I walked steadily toward the private room I was headed to. Inside the room were wealthy heiresses I'd met through John at gatherings. When they saw me arrive, they all stood up to greet me. Emily, it's rare for John to give you a night off. Usually, we can only meet you during the day. I smiled gently. Emily, our investment project earned tens of millions this time. You're truly a finance major's top student. I told you long ago. Our Emily isn't ordinary. Investing with us is never a loss. I smiled and said. It's all thanks to everyone's hard work. The short drama's explosive success owes much to your promotions. John didn't know I was no longer just a kept woman. I used the money he gave me and his connections to invest and manage finances. When short dramas first started, I invested millions. At first, there was little return, but now, this one I invested in has blown up, instantly paying out tens of millions in dividends. John was busy with his new flame, while I was occupied with revising my thesis, starting a business, and other things. We hadn't seen each other for a week. The next time we met, I was lying in bed with a high fever. My burning forehead felt a cool touch. I opened my eyes slightly to see John's furrowed brow. If Mary hadn't told me, I wouldn't have known you were this weak from illness. My throat was parched and hoarse from the fever, and I didn't want to say anything. He called his private doctor to give me an injection. A year ago, I caught influenza A. My fever wouldn't break, and all my indicators were abnormal. The hospital arranged for me to be admitted, but I disliked the pungent smell of disinfectant and the noisy environment in the ward, which made it impossible to sleep peacefully. John summoned a family doctor to treat me at home for those few days. He skipped work and stayed by my bedside around the clock, caring for me, whatever I wanted. I got that he wiped me down as if I were the patron, serving me attentively, all along. I had only seen him as my boss at work. When I saw the overwhelming concern in his eyes, I thought I was loved. That was the moment I truly fell for him, mistakenly. I believed he was someone I could grow old with. I sneered. John gripped my hand, and a wave of nausea churned in my stomach, weakly. I turned over, feigning nonchalance as I pulled my hand away. After the injection, I drifted into a heavy, drowsy sleep. When I woke again, it was the pitch-black depths of night. Someone was clutching my hand tightly. I called out softly. Turn on the lights. John was asleep. Slumped beside the bed. I hurled a pillow straight at him. You're crushing my hand. John opened his bleary, bloodshot eyes. A shadow of stubble on his chin. He looked utterly weathered. I in the past. This would have broken my heart. Idea have been moved. This polished, powerful CEO. Worn down just for might must be love. Now. I didn't need it. When John reached to touch my forehead, I instinctively flinched away. He sighed and coaxed. Emily, are you angry with me because of Sophia? I remained silent, my gaze fixed on the city lights outside the window. Sophia. I was just having some fun with her. My true feelings are for you. Trust me. We'll get married right after you graduate. I just wanted to play around a little before settling down. What wealthy man doesn't fool around? I promise. You'll be my only lawfully wedded wife. You're my first woman. After all. Emily, you don't mind, do you? John framed it as a question, but his tone held absolute certainty that it wouldn't bother me. That's why he dared to be so brazen. But he was wrong. I cast a cool, dismissive glance his way. A bitter smile touching my lips. I am tired. Get out. Perhaps because I was ill. John didn't argue. He simply stood and left. I picked up my phone, opened the website, and filled out the immigration application. There was nothing left for me here, after graduation. I was leaving this country forever. At Ava's birthday party. As my friends and I savored the food, I saw John walk in with Sophia on his arm. instantly. The lively chatter in the room died. Had always brought me to these events before. Now, it was a younger girl. I stared, stunned, at John. His gaze flickered towards me, resting on my figure, calm, distant, arrogantly dismissive. As if we'd never shared a bed. An indescribable bitterness surged from the depths of my heart. My lips parted. But in the end, I said nothing. What right did a canary kept in a cage have to question its keeper? So, women shouldn't think that being kept in a gilded cage is such a happy thing. Having money but losing your voice, luckily. Although I love him. Am not blindly in love. I've never stopped striving upward. Ava looked at me worriedly and said, Emily, I'm sorry. I didn't know John would. It's fine. Today you are the star. I raised my eyes with a smile. Unaffected, just eating and drinking wasn't enough. They started playing Truth or Dare, such an old-fashioned game. But for those who want to uncover secrets or have some excitement through it, this game is still really fun. John lost. And Sophia was the one setting the punishment. She wanted John to kiss the person he likes. As soon as her words came out, everyone exchanged glances. Some looked at me. My expression was lazy. Swirling my wine glass, curling my lips disdainfully. Looking indifferent, John stared at me. Narrowing his eyes, I lifted my gaze and saw him walking toward Sophia. The surroundings went dead silent. My hand gripping the glass slowly tightened. John wrapped his arm around Sophia's waist, cradled her face with both hands, and kissed her. The atmosphere grew even more awkward. No one spoke. Only the sound of their lips and teeth tangling could be heard. The glass in my hand was close to shattering. I took a deep breath, loosened my grip, picked up the glass, and drank it all in one go. A fiery sting washed over me, and my stomach felt like it was burning with fire. This what heartbreak feels like. The first heartbreak is brutal. And here I am forcing myself to stay calm. I pressed my lips together and gave a bitter smile, while kissing. Sophia shot me a triumphant look. She raised her eyebrows as if she were the victor. I scoffed. Those short 2 minutes felt like an eternity. Finally, Ava broke up the kissing scene. Go kiss somewhere else. Keep playing the game. Sophia's eyes were glazed. Her face flushed. Still gasping for breath, John and I have never kissed in public. The most intimate act outside was a kiss on the back of the hand. Yet now, right in front of everyone, he's kissing someone else freely. Back when I was sick, I heard about it. When John was sponsoring a college student, he took a liking to that girl who had just turned 18 and started pursuing her fiercely. He drove luxury cars to her school every day, showered her with designer bags until she couldn't hold more. Sophia had never seen so many high-end things. She agreed to be with him in under 10 days. I think she probably knows John still has me in his life. They kept playing the game, and I excused myself to use the restroom and left. I stood alone on the balcony, letting the wind blow over me. I remembered how John used to be just like this. His eyes full of only me. I heard that the feeling of liking someone has a shelf life of about 4 years. If you're still together after 4 years, that's true love, just right between him and me. For years have passed. He's already grown tired of me. I stared blankly into the distance when I heard voices from below. John, you're really too much today. John leaned casually against a tree, hands in his pockets. How am I too much? You knew perfectly well Emily was here. So why did you bring your mistress? What mistress? Sophia is my legitimate girlfriend. Then isn't Emily one too? John scoffed. She's just a kept woman I'm supporting. If it weren't for her father throwing her in front of me, I wouldn't have touched her at all. Boom. It felt like lightning struck my world. I pressed my lips tightly together, my hands gripping my sleeves fiercely. That sour, bitter ache blew into my heart with the wind, like someone had grabbed it, throbbing painfully. But later on, no one forced him. He was the one who supported me year after year. He was the one who held me every night, telling me he'd love me forever, that he wanted to be with me forever, to marry me and have children. to build a happy family. I thought he loved me. So he said those sweet words to me. Turns out I was just dreaming. Maybe he said the same things to Sophia too. I let out a bitter laugh. When Emily leaves you someday. Don't regret it. John laughed loudly as if he'd heard a joke. How could Emily ever leave me? Every bit of what she eats, uses, and lives in is paid for by my money. She's so money-obsessed, living a life of luxury and excess, buying clothes worth tens of thousands, and often purses worth hundreds of thousands. If she left me, who would give her that kind of money? Without me, she couldn't survive at all. To maintain my high society social circle, I dressed myself in luxury items. John didn't know I often bought bags to give to wealthy socialites. I frequently posted photos of gatherings with them on social media. He thought it was all high-end spending. In reality, it was all to discuss collaborations and secure investments. He never asked details about what I was doing. And I never told him. I deliberately created a persona in front of him: meek, obedient, extravagant, and money-hungry. I made my sisters hide all my investments. The plan to climb up using a benefactor couldn't be known to the benefactor. I feared that one day, when this kept bird flew away, he would clip my wings. I deliberately coughed to remind Ava. I was afraid she'd spill the beans about my secret money-making. Ava looked up at me, sighed, and left. John, seeing me above, seemed surprised. A flicker of guilt passed over him. I watched him with a hint of disappointment. Just then, Sophia ran into his arms, held him, and said sweetly, "Baby, this place is no fun. I want to go back." That sugary tone sent shivers down my spine. In the past, I called John baby, and he said it was childish and forbade me. But now, Sophia called him baby over and over, and he relished it. Sophia followed his gaze, saw me, raised an eyebrow at me, then triumphantly linked her arm with John and left, late at night, while I was fast asleep. I felt someone holding me. I groggily opened my eyes. John was trying to hold me to sleep. "Don't touch me. You're dirty." A wave of disgust surged in my heart, and I kicked him off the bed. John's expression showed a hint of anger. "Emily, you've got guts." I glanced at him and said calmly, "If you want to sleep, go find your Sophia. She's on her period." Even though I've known this man for 4 years, it felt like I was only truly getting to know him now. I let out a bitter laugh. "Can't you hold back? Will you die if you go a day without sleeping with a woman?" John grabbed my hand, his cold eyes staring at me, anger evident in his features. "I've been keeping you. Serving me is your duty. You can't refuse." The corners of my lips lifted. "Oh. But you haven't transferred this month's 500,000. John froze for a moment, then gritted his teeth. "Do you love money that much? Fine. I'll transfer it to you right now. No need. We're ending this relationship." I got up and changed my clothes. John stood silently by, watching me pack my things. I picked up my suitcase and brushed past him. A low, disdainful voice came. "Emily, don't regret this. Without me, who will give you such a good life?" I didn't stop, didn't look back, and left the place I'd lived for 4 years. I couldn't bear to part with this house. The house that held my 4 years of beautiful youth, and John. When he got a new woman, my love for him vanished. I rented a hotel room for a month, because in a month, I'll get my graduation certificate and degree. And it'll be time to go to Australia to start my new life. I don't have a mother. She passed away from illness when I was 10. My father stopped being my relative when he schemed for me to sleep with John. You have to admit, sometimes parents don't love their children. After he got a few million to pay off debts, I cut ties with him and moved my household registration out, according to my girlfriends. Sophia has moved in with John. One day, I received an anonymous text message. It was a photo of John and Sophia kissing in bed. My heart was calm. Not even a hint of disgust. I replied with 4 words, "I wish you happiness." I meant it sincerely. I hope every girl can have hope. But unfortunately, Sophia won't be happy with John. Shall become the second me. 21 days after I completely left John. He called me. He used a new number. If I'd known it was him, I wouldn't have answered. A hoarse, weary voice came through the phone. Emily. I want to eat the beef soup you make. I'm not much of a cook. During the 4 years I was with him, I occasionally cooked on a whim when I was bored on holidays, but it never tasted good. Only the beef soup was exceptionally delicious. The beef was tender and smooth. The soup savory with a hint of spice. John could drink 3 bowls. Not a drop left. He said it was the best beef soup he'd ever had. He said the beef soup outside couldn't compare to mine. Later, he often asked me to cook for him. It had been almost 2 months since the last time I made beef soup. He must have been really craving it. I refused. I know you want money. 1 million. Make me a beef soup, and I'll pick you up. I helplessly massaged my forehead and said, John, we're over. I am serious. Are you still jealous of me? If it's because of Sophia, I can break up with her. No, I don't love you anymore. Don't bother me again in the future. Emily. Before John could finish, I had already hung up the phone and blocked his number. I didn't expect that John actually found the hotel I was staying at. He was leaning against the door of my room. And when he saw me coming, his eyes lit up. I froze in place. My mouth taut, unhappily. I walked forward, ignored his presence, and opened the door. John grabbed my hand. I tried to pull away in disgust, but he held on tightly. My wrist was hurting from his grip, bearing the pain. My eyes reddened. John, let go. I want. He stubbornly pulled me, and I gave up struggling. What do you really want? John turned around and hugged me tightly, murmuring, Emily, I miss you. I didn't speak, struggling desperately, but he hugged me even tighter. Before, I really liked his hugs. I could feel his heartbeat and smell the scent of his clothes. His body was warm, especially in winter. Hugging him was like holding a little son, cozy and warm. But now, I found the smell on him so pungent it made me nauseous. I utterly hated his physical contact. I said coldly, word by word, we're over. It's okay. We can start over. I don't want to. Emily. I was wrong. What do I need to do for you to forgive me? Can you promise that I'll be the only woman in your life forever? John suddenly fell silent. He thought for a moment before answering softly. I can. A bitter smile appeared on my lips. Then swear that if you ever have another woman, you'll be impotent for life. John was silent again, then said casually, who swears an oath like that? I had expected he couldn't do it. He couldn't even say a promise to coax me. You just can't stand the blow of me dumping you first. You only love yourself. If you have any shame, stop pretending and harassing me, taking advantage of John's days. I quickly pushed him away, entered the room, and immediately locked the door. John stood at the door for a while, then finally left. On the day of the graduation ceremony, I saw John. He appeared in the front row seat as a sponsor. I received the certificate. I finally graduated. Tonight, I will board a plane to start a new life. After the ceremony, John blocked my way again. There were too many people around, and I didn't want to draw attention. So I told John to talk to me somewhere less crowded. We went to the big tree behind the cafeteria. I had an impatient look on my face. Emily, it's hard to find a job. Come and be my secretary. I'll pay you $1 million a year. No. Thanks. John didn't expect me to refuse so straightforwardly. His face instantly turned gloomy, and a depressing atmosphere emanated from him. Emily, don't be ungrateful. Where else can you find a cash cow like me? Do you know how hard it is to find a job in this tough employment environment? Don't come crawling back to me after you've been bullied out there. I couldn't help but burst out laughing. Don't worry, I'll live a better life without you. Let's see how you can survive without me as your sugar daddy. John stormed off. I put away my smile, held my head high, and walked towards my bright future. A year ago, I went on a trip to Australia with my sisters and fell in love with the place. There's no overtime here, no rat race, It's friendly to women. And people respect each other's boundaries. So I bought a villa in Australia and plan to settle here after graduation. To improve myself. I applied for a graduate program at the University of Sydney, even during the time when John kept me as his mistress. I never stopped self-improvement. Never rely on a man for your future. Now, breathing in the fresh air in Australia. I'm extremely grateful for my decision a year ago. At that time, my best friend told me that I just needed to stay by John's side and didn't have to work so hard that I shook my head. No matter how much he gives. It's not as good as what I own myself. I heard from Ava that John had broken up with Sophia. Because Sophia always nagged him. She would throw a fit if he replied to her messages a bit late, if he didn't answer the phone at night. She would suspect that he was having an affair. John couldn't stand her clinginess and suspicion. So he gave her the cold shoulder. Sophia, who was in her first relationship, couldn't accept such a change and made even more of a scene. Finally, John announced their breakup. Citing her bad temper, Sophia went to Wilson Group every day, saying that she would change her temper and never make a scene again, asking John to give her a chance to get back together. John called the police, accusing her of causing trouble and disturbing public order. Sophia was detained for a few days. After she got out, she seemed to have suffered from depression and had been receiving treatment in the hospital. When I heard this news, I stood in front of the floor-to-ceiling window, looking at the Gold Coast outside. The sun shone on the sea, making it sparkle. One should have a heart as broad as the boundless sea and a spirit as tenacious as the waves crashing onto the beach. I sighed. Sophia, a naive girl who had never been in a relationship before, didn't know that there are no shortcuts in life. All so-called shortcuts come with a huge price tag. A man's love is the most unreliable thing. John somehow got my information. One day after class, he suddenly appeared at the school gate. He walked towards me quickly. I frowned, not understanding what he wanted. Emily, I've been looking for you for a month. I didn't say a word and didn't even look at him. I just pretended he didn't exist and made no response. He was still nagging incessantly in my ear. Emily, why did you run off to study in Australia? What's so great about grad school? Marry me, and it'll guarantee you a lifetime of wealth and luxury. Stop studying and come back home. I'll take care of you. I rolled my eyes. Utterly fed up. You'll take care of me. Give me money, while I watch you keep falling for new women. Don't you remember when you despised me for not being as young and tender as Sophia? So why are you clinging to me now like a leech? John tried to grab my hand, but I instinctively dodged it. Emily, I know you're still mad. It's only through all this that I've realized how much I love you. How I can't live without you. Can you give me one more chance? I won't cheat again. Seeing John so pitiful, I scoffed. I am not Maddie. Don't feel anything toward you. Stop bothering me. I won't look back. After that, I boarded the bus, leaving John behind, but John didn't give up. He showed up at the campus gate every day to wait for me. Sometimes he'd be holding a huge bouquet of flowers. Other times, he'd bring luxury gifts. I didn't accept them and refused to waste words on him later. I switched to using another campus gate. He followed me there too. It seemed like he'd hired a detective to investigate me. When that didn't work at school, he came to squat outside my apartment. This went on for half a month. He thought persistence would win me over, not realizing that once I stopped loving someone, I never turned back. When heavy rain poured down outside, he stood at my apartment door soaking wet. Like some scene from a romantic drama, I still treated him like air and went on with my business. I end the morning. I opened the door to find John, drenched after a night in the rain, crouching there. The once high and mighty Mr. Wilson now looked like a drowned rat. He saw me come out and gazed at me with a pleading expression. As if acting pitiful would earn him sympathy, I just gave him a brief glance, then turned away and headed to school for the next few days. I didn't see him at all. I thought he'd finally given up. But it turned out he was sick. He was hospitalized for 7 days. He sent me loads of texts since he was blocked. I only found out later when I checked my spam messages. He sent photos of himself in the hospital, begging me to forgive him because he looked so miserable. I did forgive him. I'd already forgiven him for cheating long ago. It wasn't even cheating. Really just a sugar daddy wanting to keep another pet. And what right did I have to stop him? I was nothing more than a canary he kept caged. But this bird realized it couldn't stay trapped forever. So it worked hard to strengthen its wings. When the time was right, it finally flew away and became a free bird. It no longer needs its owner's affection. It no longer loves its owner. It loves itself. Last year, an investment project yielded tens of millions in profits, which have already been deposited into my account. I transferred all the money John had sent me over the past 4 years back to him. After John recovered from his illness, he came to my apartment again. He grabbed my hand forcefully and demanded to know what I meant. His expression was somewhat distraught. "I've returned your money, from now on. Don't bother me anymore. I find you annoying. And I owe you nothing. If you show up again, I'll report you for harassment. I'll also send videos of you harassing me every time to those wealthy families back home. You don't want them all laughing at you, do you?" John's eyes instantly darkened. He stared at me incredulously, looked at me for a long moment, then laughed and said, "I never expected Emily, always so obedient and sensible, to be so capable. Where did you get so much money? Did you hook up with a richer man than me in Australia? And that's why you won't give me another chance?" I was so speechless I started laughing. When people are speechless, they really do laugh. Had rather believe I found a sugar daddy than accept that I no longer love him. "John, let me go. And let yourself go too. You never truly understood me. And you don't really love me. You just can't stand failure. You arrogantly think no woman in the world would dare reject you. You just can't handle me leaving you first. If I agreed to get back with you, you'd get bored again soon enough and go play with other women. Stop ruining the good impression I have of you. If you keep harassing me like this, I'll make sure you can't hold your head up in our country." John finally left. My world was finally at peace. He's a man who cares about his image and absolutely can't tolerate others laughing at him. Half a year later, John called me again. He told me he was getting married. He cried his heart out over the phone, saying he wanted to marry me. After he finished, I simply replied, "I recorded this." He immediately shut up. Later, he vanished from my world. I saw his wedding on social media. Grand, luxurious, romantic affair. It was a marriage alliance among wealthy families. John looked quite happy in the photos. Not at all like someone who couldn't move on. Truly a dramatic personality. Later, John couldn't resist the temptation of someone new. He cheated with a young female college student. His wife directly gave the evidence video of his affair to the media. The Liu Group's stock price plummeted. They divorced. From then on, the Liu family went downhill. Meanwhile, I started climbing uphill in life. I continued my studies and earned a PhD in finance. Moreover, I became a well-known investor. At age 35, I had already made it onto the global rich list. Someone exposed my past history of being kept. I recorded a video response on social media. People don't condemn the wealthy men who pay for companionship, but they condemn me, who was in a desperate situation with nothing. I've never been ashamed of this. I didn't break up any families. That money was earned through my own skills. I gave my body and youth for it. Besides, after I became wealthy, I transferred all that money back to John. Men are born with the right to inheritance, enjoying advantages and help in the family, workplace, and society. They often don't need to put in much effort to inherit cars, houses, and properties left by their parents. Yet, as women, whatever we want, we face targeting and discrimination everywhere. And we have to rely on ourselves for everything. Men can depend on their parents. So why can't we women use men's resources to climb up? Use everything to your advantage. I wish all women success. When John was drugged, I hated the person who drugged me. My first time was schemed against like that. That was my virginity. I wanted to strangle the woman beside me. But the moment I saw her, I panicked. Her eyes were red from crying. Full of bloodshot, her small face. Fair and tender skin like a porcelain doll. My heart skipped a beat. I carefully wiped away her tears, holding her in my arms. I comforted her. Don't be scared. It's my first time too. I will take responsibility for you. She was so obedient and fragile. My protective instinct surged instantly. I wanted to protect her. I paid off her father's debts for her. Sent her money every month. And let her live in my house. It was the first time I felt a crush on a girl. She was only a freshman in college. No wonder she seemed so naive. I never understood before why people in my circle liked women. Since I had Emily. I finally understood. Holding her small self to sleep every night was truly blissful. It felt like I owned the whole world. I loved how she snuggled into my arms. Warm and secure. But later on, as time passed, I suddenly got bored. What man sleeps with only one person for a lifetime? I wanted to experience what different women were like. I started liking the younger Sophia. I knew Emily would be uncomfortable. But so what? I was her sugar daddy. She used my money. So what right did she have to demand anything from me? She was so dependent on me. She definitely wouldn't leave. But I never expected her to move out of my house. Did she want me to coax her back? Impossible. I was still dating Sophia, until Sophia became more and more domineering and suspicious. I started getting annoyed with Sophia again. Emily is still better. She never argued with me or checked up on me. After Emily left for a while, I missed her terribly. I wanted to hold her, to sleep with her, but she rejected me. I broke up with Sophia. And she didn't forgive me. She actually ran off to Australia alone. Is there a man in Australia? I immediately flew to Australia to find her and hired a detective to follow her. Thankfully, there was no man around her. I thought. As long as I pursued her every day, she would definitely come back. She didn't. Not even when I was sick in the hospital did she show any concern. She really doesn't love me anymore. There was no other man around her. She just doesn't love me anymore. It was me who lost her because of my unfaithfulness. I can no longer find someone as gentle and sensible as Emily. No one will ever love me like Emily did. Who gave me free space. I followed my parents' arrangement and entered into a marriage alliance. How great it would be if the person I married was Emily. But it's impossible now. It's all because of my greed. Later, I still couldn't resist and cheated again because that girl seemed like Emily back then. Later, I saw her on the rich list. I never expected Emily to be such an amazing person. I never understood Emily. I saw her interviews. She has worked so hard these years. Turns out Emily is such a strong-willed person. And I actually kissed Sophia in front of her. No wonder she didn't forgive me. Emily is becoming more and more outstanding. And I can no longer deserve her.